And today I have a layout to share for Hip Kit Club. I am using the very, very beautiful November 2021 Hip Kits, and I am on doing a product focus layout today, which means that I get to choose the product I want to focus on and focus on that. So I decided to focus on the pattern papers and to create some paper folding from those, and also the floral ephemera, because I think it's possibly my favourite item in this month's kit. Okay, so I've chosen two pattern papers to work with today, the red one and the pink one, both fairly solid prints, and they are going to, I've cut them into 4-inch squares, and they are going to be folded into little wreaths, or well, little star or kind of like poinsettias, if you like, that there will then be, that all together will form a wreath. Okay, so this is me making one of the origami flowers. I won't even attempt to explain how to try to make these. Very complicated folds, although, sorry, when I say complicated, lots of folds, but not actually overly complicated. So nothing particularly complicated to actually do, but definitely a lot of them and a lot to kind of remember. So have a look on YouTube if you want to follow this same tutorial. The one on YouTube that I found was red and green, but it tells you how to make these lovely little origami flowers, and they are very, very sweet once they're made. They just take a little bit of time to do, and they look complicated, but they're actually very, very simple. And once you've made one, making the remainder is extremely easy. You just kind of get onto a roll, don't you, and just get going. Yeah, so I had to, for the first one that I made, I had to keep referring back to the video, but once I'd made the first one, it was actually super easy, and I managed to make the rest of them with no issues whatsoever. So this is me making the first one. So basically you score the paper in half in every direction, and then you kind of make a kite also in every direction, and then once you've done all of those, then you have to fold the outside edges towards the middle edge as well. But other than that, say all of those folds in the initial folds are extremely easy, and then it's just a case of manipulating them into this flower shape, which is not particularly difficult. But as far as origami goes, so I've done much more complicated origami than this, but they do look complicated, and they did take a little while. Now, the only thing I would say about doing origami with pattern papers is that the pattern papers are quite heavy, whereas origami paper is traditionally quite thin. So you just have to be careful that you don't crease up the paper too much. Use a bone folder to score rather than your fingers, and also don't be too concerned if the paper does rip a little bit, as in, what I mean by that is kind of like it produces on the edges where it's folded, you can kind of see the white bits. That's obviously more obvious on a darker paper than a lighter paper, but just don't worry too much about it. I then just went over all of my flowers with an ink pad and covered up all of the little white bits that I had created from folding the paper so much, and that hides a multitude of sins, and it's a really simple thing to do. Okay, so here I am, fast forward quite like an hour or so, and here I am putting my wreath together. So I'm using my hot glue gun to put it all together, because instead of sticking it directly onto the page, I wanted to make it into one piece so that I could then move it around and make sure I positioned it in the right place. Sticking it directly onto the paper would have been a bit risky. I did also put Nuvo drops in the middle of each one of my flowers, and then I managed to smudge almost all of them because I didn't leave them quite long enough to be dry. They were dry to touch, but they weren't dry to press, and I did press them on a few occasions when I was trying to put the wreath together. So yeah, I have ruined quite a few of my very, very large Nuvo drops in the middle there. But I covered up one with one of the lovely enamel dots. I covered up another one with a flower. So, even, accidents like that, after all that work on the origami as well, I was really annoyed, but, it really not a problem. Okay, so here is my wreath. It's in one piece, and I have stuck it all together. I'm now just going to add my photo to the middle of it. So it's a photo of me and my daughter together wearing our Christmas jumpers. And that's just going to sit in the middle, and that's going to be my only photo. And I love the way that it's kind of framed by those flowers. Like I said, it's going to just go directly onto a piece of white card for my background. I want to have a little bit of colour. Now, the wreath turned out a bit smaller than what I was expecting. For some reason, I thought it was going to be quite a bit larger. So this design ended up being much smaller than initially I had planned. So I just wanted to kind of extend the size of the wreath with some ink from the ink pads that were in the kit. Also, I'm going to add floral ephemera all around the edge to make it look a bit more like a wreath of flowers. You know, it needs to have some greenery, doesn't it? I'm just using an ink applicator tool to create a little bit of a glow around the edge of my flowers. And the red ink that was in the colour kit this month. I'm also wanting to add a little bit of pink ink, but there wasn't a pink ink pad in the kit, so I just grabbed one of my own. It wasn't quite the right colour, unfortunately, but it works okay. And to be honest, you don't see much of it once the floral ephemera is in place. You know, it looks fine there, doesn't it? And you can see the glow really lovely, but then I'm going to go and add a load of other stuff to it, and then of course you can't see very much. That's generally what happens to me whenever I do mixed media. Okay, so now I'm just trying to think about what else I can add to the layout, or what I would like to add to the layout, because of course I've done all this work already, and I want the flowers to be the main event, but obviously there's lots and lots of wonderful things in the kit that I just can't resist using. So I'm mainly focusing on the floral ephemera, as I said earlier, I'm just pulling out the bits and pieces that I think will work. Now, I love red and pink for Christmas, which is why I chose the colour scheme for my flowers, but I feel that there needs to be some greenery brought into this layout too. But how far do I go? Do I bring in lots of different colours, or do I stick with just green? In the end, I kind of went for greens and blues. I tried not to bring in any of the yellow, just because I thought that would be a step too far in terms of colour. So I'm just like arranging my flowers, my floral ephemera, all the way around the edges of my flower wreath. And then I can carry on. I'm just continuously conscious of the shape of it, because I want it to look like a circle, but of course I'm extending it down in certain places, so I just need to be careful that I don't lose that kind of circular feature. So I'm just going to carry on, you know, playing around with it, putting in all of the ephemera. I love the holly leaves. I love the flowers. Some of this ephemera is foiled as well with silver foil. It's super pretty. And then I guess I need to start sticking. So I need to get all of my flowers stuck in place. I need to then get my my floral ephemera stuck in place, and then I need to get my big flower wreath stuck on top. So I stuck most of them with foam pads, and then I lifted off the wreath and stuck that with the glue gun. So fast forward a little bit longer, and everything is stuck in place, so now I can just kind of finish off. So I've added Festive Fun sticker from one of the sticker sheets as my title. Obviously it's a sticky sticker, and it's sticking up off of the surface of the paper, so because it's stuck onto a red flower. So I've stuck it with foam pads, and then de-stuck the other side so it doesn't get stuck to anything. Okay, I've just been adding some other little bits and pieces, some chipboard stars, some stickers, and now I'm coming in with one of the stamps from the stamp kit that was in this month's kit. It's a little kind of like star, and I've just used the red ink, and I've just popped that around the edge of the wreath. Coming in now with a few more little bits and pieces, so tiny stars, enamel dots, and any other little small things I can find. Because I like it to kind of feel like a bit of a starburst, so I feel like the bigger pieces should be in the middle, and then the smaller pieces around the edge. Okay, so I'm nearly done. I do just want to make sure that I add some white paint splatters to my layout, because I love white paint splatters. I love how it looks over the top of pattern papers, so and I'm going to splatter all over my flowers and my Floral Ephemera too. So there we go, just got some white acrylic paint onto a craft mat, and I'm just going to hold my foam pads over the top of my photo so I don't get splatters on my photo, although I didn't stick it down enough and I ended up with white splatters on my photo as well. Hey ho, never mind. So anyway, there is my layout complete. I actually really like how this turned out. It took quite a long time. It's quite a labour of love, to be honest, but I do like how it turned out. Those flowers are very cute and they were great fun to make. So I hope you give it a try. Don't forget that if you are a Hip Kit Club subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price, 15% discount off all add-on kits, and access to exclusive subscriber cut files. So lots of reasons to subscribe. Thank you so very much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.